It was George Whitefield that famously said, "I am immortal until my time has come." You know, there was a holy confidence that no matter what was going in life, God was keeping them, protecting them through His sovereign hand. And when we think of our God as a keeping God, there is a tendency to think of His keeping as one-dimensional. That is, that if He's a keeping God, it is always demonstrated by keeping us from difficulty. Then when something difficult occurs in our lives, we incorrectly conclude that God has somehow failed His promise to keep us. However, when God speaks of keeping, the word also carries the idea of carrying it, keeping us through things. He allows us to go through difficulty and then keeps us through that difficulty to the other side. I think it's displayed with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. When Nebuchadnezzar said, "You better bow down or I'm going to kill you." And they said, "You know what? Our God is able to deliver us. But even if He does not deliver us, we will not bow down." Why? Because they knew that God is a keeping God. There is no trial in our life where God is absent. You know, Psalm 23, and this is the ultimate keeping. Psalm 23, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." He keeps us. Let me say this. When I was in Italy, I read through Job with Jonathan. Not the whole thing, my 14-year-old. We read the first 3 chapters and the last 3 chapters. That's the best way of reading it. Then afterwards, try to focus on the middle, you know. Just kind of get those 2 things right first, and then you go into the middle and deal with all the philosophy that's there and everything. But you know what? In a sense, what I came out from that, it's just crazy if you think about it. But if you think about it, the whole time God was keeping Job. In a sense, God said this to Satan, "Throw your worst, and I will still get my best done." And nobody reads Job and thinks to himself, "Man, I can't believe, poor guy," at the end of the story. You see that God kept him through. And man, you guys, many of us, we're going through things. Actually, it's like this. It's a cliche, but either you're coming out of a trial, you're going through a trial, or you're going into one. You know, and at the end of the day, the reality is that God keeps us through this stuff. He preserves us. Think on David. Consider how much God allowed him to go through to prepare him to be the king of Israel. And don't think, please understand, don't think that you have to be superhero guy. I trust the Lord all the time. Be human.